gonna maul with Terran. Start off with the Den, Swift Spear, hit for 1. I was like, what is that? It's one of the pathways. It's the blue-red pathway. I had somebody draw one it for him. Yeah, it's like just $300 to go to blue-red over mono-red. I can see how it's quite a commitment. You might not want to do. Bone Crusher Giant, we're going to get a Prowess trigger. We're going to hit for 2. So mono red doing what we were talking about in terms of getting out early. There is a lot of shredders. We've also had a couple conversations and where like shredders sometimes just feels like a mainboard hate card against mono red in terms of that, like if they don't have a Soul Scar mage in hand, like lining up your burn spells and removal spells to get it off the board sometimes pretty tough. And then once it grows so large, it's just pretty hard to remove. Can't imagine Terran blocking here, so Bjork can probably get in for a decent amount. We will see. This is round 2, by the way. Round number. Probably gotta adjust the stream title. Round 2. Don't worry, chat. Got it all under control over here. So we get in. We only get 1 point of damage. Plays a Bone Crusher Giant after, which I kind of like that plan. Get like a big enough threat in play that it's able to remove Shredder on its own if Terran's unable to activate them. However, or they get activated twice, I guess, because even if they get a counter, they'll still technically be able to be removed by this Bone Crusher Giant. And it won't be a trade. They'll just kill Bone Crusher, will just kill it cleanly. So getting rid of a cruise, ensuring that he gets that counter. Plays 4 copies, I believe, so probably just on the plan of getting one here later. Work up to 5 cards in hand, I believe. Does have another land in hand, I believe, as well. So his hand's not all that great. At least from what I've been able to see. Terran's hand can get super aggressive after this. Can you tell me how it is? Can you tell me how it's that place? Like, I saw a lot of the videos of you and never saw the place. I guess I might just be reading it weird, but I'm not quite understanding what your question is. Can you tell me how it's... So you like talking about videos of the shop, like exterior wise or interior wise? Or again, I might just be reading it funky from my end, and I can't. Like, how is store? How do you have that spot? I mean, I guess if you're talking how we formally opened, so Kyle owns our building that we're in. We are in the same building as 3 other businesses. Basically, our store started out as 2 garages. We sealed off the wall, put concrete up. They put some money into it. I personally helped and came in. We painted this place up. Put down the flooring. It's a little uneven on the flooring because it used to be an old garage floor. so the floor wasn't poured quite well. And Kyle just is able to afford it to build it here. I guess if that's what you're meaning, like how's the store? How do you have that spot? Yeah. So this is like where we are. Yeah, actually, that's been the plan. It's been the plan to technically make a tour of the shop because we had plans of expansion. Like we're hoping to double our size. Moral of the story. I don't know the exact square footing. Kyle would be able to explain it a lot better than I can, but we plan to grow, and we've been doing a lot of other stuff to get ready for that. And I've recorded some of the videos of that process. We're kind of just waiting for the rest to happen. We probably could go ahead and do like a little bit of a tour of the place. But right now in the shape that it's in, not necessarily that it's in like bad shape, but where you have like, we have plans for certain things that haven't been done yet because we haven't freed up the space to go do it because some architect problems and like weird situations of like sprinkler systems and whatnot. And I don't know if you know how sprinkler system and magic cards go together, but it's not entirely great. So there's been a lot of like hesitation on that stuff. So the expansion hasn't come quite as quickly as we'd like and when we would like it to. So damn. LGS burned down 2 months ago. Sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that for the people who owned it. It's definitely a fear when all your products and cardboard, in terms of like getting that stuff insured and whatnot. It is not an easy process or a fun one in that matter. That's why we have some of our things in very particular spots where we have it. Yeah, because like when you go to an insurance company, you say, hey, I have this piece of cardboard that's worth X amount. They're not very open to accept that. Yeah, because it's like, because magic cards in a weird way are like collectibles, but not in terms of that their prices can change drastically. And yeah, Play with Fire has to target the face in order to scry. So, it's one of the weird things when Play with Fire that get mistaken quite often. So this is gonna get lightning striked. This game has gotten very, weird is kind of the best way to describe it. We've kind of used all of our resources. Yours taking some amount of damage. I'm not exactly sure how much. Or like you pre-blocked, I'm not sure. Tyron knows he's on stream, so he can fix it if he knows. Says he's got himself 13. He's going to be taking 5.
Okay, so there's a question.
Okay, hold on.
Okay.
Sorry, had a question come in. So, here's everybody's favorite card in Pioneer. Treasure Cruise. I about made a joke to the card Pot of Greed, but we don't need that in our life right now. Well, I don't know if the draw other than an additional Treasure Cruise gets too much better than that in terms of the fact that He drew spells and not a lot of lands. Soulscar. There's a Chandra in play. I didn't really notice that, seeing it up there in the top. But Chandra will go down. Because he had one Prowess trigger. Terran's holding up an Opt. A Play with Fire and an additional land, I believe. Bjork is empty-handed. So he's just on top deck mode plus land activation. So he does have pressure. Top card can make it pressure a whole lot easier. Sokazon is the card that he drew, if you do not know what that one is. Insert joke. The card that was drawn, this is the wrong table, was this. It's the borderless version, however, because our gamers are cool. It can be channeled, make 2/1 spirits that have haste. It costs 1 less for every legendary. Right now, I believe the argument for Bjork is, am I supposed to activate the den and get in there with that? Which I kind of believe is the play, considering you have 2 dens in play and you can focus on after if they both somehow get removed in the spot. Or you can do that and you eventually bring in less power. So crewing up the den is the way we end up moving. Get another goblin. Okay, so Terran's trying to tell him, I think I have something to do before combat. But Alexa will allow him to go to combat. Doesn't change much. We're going to opt Prowess trigger. So a little bit of the last stand for Terran here. He has so much life to get through. Just gonna lightning strike down the land. The land will die. He'll get in for 2. This Soulscar Mage is going to be able to knock out this Swift Sphere. Terran's going to go down to 6. And here comes the Treasure Cruise off the top. Just a guess, but we know how blue-red players get out of these spots. Boom. Never mind, it's a Do-Rat. Or a Sprite Dragon. I said Do-Rat because that is the name of the alternate card. Terran does just get to play more threats here. Wouldn't be surprised if he plays Do-Rat, put Giganta in hand. The best part about playing these companions is the ability to just always have the option to pick them up. And a 5/5 is pretty tough at times for decks like Mono Red to get through. Or he's going to cast Light Up Stage. Hits a land and play with fire. You can do both. I'm going to see a land and a pass. Use this play with fire if he chooses that. If Bjork's trying to activate den, we get to play with fire it, put a counter on our Sprite Dragon, grow our creatures, they get to block a lot easier. Or if like some Planeswalker comes down. Oh, the Ramanap Ruins, the one that we saw Bjork play earlier that took down the game against Connor when Connor had turned the table. Still a little hesitation. You're a little under practice on the amount of reps he's probably had with this deck. Not quite sure if he's supposed to channel this land or just get in with the den. He knows he has Terran down to 6, but he also has a play with fire open. We'll see if Terran chooses to fire this off before he draws, because he's probably wanting to manipulate the top the best he can. to find a card a little more worth it instead of blindly drawing off the top. Puts on bottom, so it seems like it was a good choice so far. Comes on tap, draw. A den of his own that'll be important later. Bjork is running out of cards. We should see Sokazan get cycled here, or the 2 damage to the face. He could have done it on upkeep to get the prowess, but I don't. In that regard, Terran probably wasn't thinking about going to combat at all. Because he's just like, if you plan to swing out, he's a little in trouble of his den being crude, and then like some burn spells. I think Terran's plan is to eventually try to one-shot Chris, if he can. And Chris has also been holding a card in his hand for a while, so Terran's probably been trying to wonder what it is. Here comes the swing. The triple block. Terran's going to go down to 3. Puts him in skewer range. Which could be here. Land play with fire puts him down to 1. I think, right? No? Am I tripping? If you do not know, above the life totals, we have like little markers, best of 3, to show who is up a game and down a game. Somebody moved the table. That's all I know. Sorry if that now tilts anybody in chat, but the table definitely got moved. Or the mats are super crooked because Terran moved the mat. I'm not sure. Looks like the mats are a little crooked. Nice. Hope there's nobody that's OCD in the chat. Terran on the play. Distant Pioneer, a lot more relevant in these type of matches. We call that a triple threat. Basketball term, if you've ever heard it. I'm just gonna take it, chump 1. I did not mean to go down 2. Soulscar out here trying to shoulder check. Eidolon coming down is a little weird in these spots to me. Because Bjork's gonna have a lot of cards in hand that he's trying to offload. Although at this point, like, could just force Terran to remove it, which he does. The reason those can sometimes be a little bit dangerous against these blue-red piles is if they start hitting you with like the flyers and whatnot and forcing you to remove their threats, you're also taking burn from your own card. And that just helps their game plan a ton. We're down to 12. We have Swift Spheres and Soul Scars all over the place. Yeah, I'm a little less of a fan of Eidolon on the draw, because where like if this game went in the opposite direction, Terran would have taken. Of course, Terran could have just removed it like he did before, but if Terran wanted to get Swift Spears down, he would have had to take it 4 damage to get those down. And then you really get to see the value of your Eidolon, trade it in combat if you need to, and go from there. Whereas, like, this is a lot worse in this spot. Not super fan where Bjork's exile cards off light up stage ended, but he did move him a little off to the side more. So we're gonna untap here. This Swift Spear gets knocked out of the way. This could be a very fast game too. And I think Terran's doing the math. It's whether he is going all in here to put as much pressure and damage on as he can, and hoping to kind of burn Bjork the rest of the way out of the game, or like hope he messes up in terms of swinging too many creatures, Or he's thinking about getting a little bit more value in here, waiting until next turn, and holding up a couple spells potentially to protect his creatures from burn spells themselves. But we'll see what happens here. As he's looking to turn them sideways, I believe. Villa, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it, by the way. This is a really hard turn. I think it's an underrated turn where a lot of people are like, just swing them or don't swing them. I do think this turn's a little bit harder than what people might give it credit for. Also, Terran potentially missing a land drop makes it a lot harder too. But now has the next 2 land drops he might need, as that'll stay there for next turn. Can we please move the land elsewhere? Chat, remind me to go out there and drop kick him if he tries to tap it for mana. Chris is down to 10. Has a little bit of climbing to do. I can see this Bone Crusher going face and then trying to skewer one of the creatures off the board. Issue with Bone Crushing one of the creatures is your skewer is not more mana. You would have to get through via combat, which you do have the option to, but they could get protected from an opt/play with fire themselves. Likes not to do anything, but go to combat. Turns all the way down to 16. Fly all the way down, that's just 2 more life. So there is that's a den under there, right? So he doesn't have to tap that for red, so he takes no damage. Okay. So Bone Crusher Giant targeting the Soul Scar. Soul Scar is going to be dead at the end of this turn, whether he protects it or not. Because it'll be done in terms of negative counters unless Terran's able to remove York's Soul Scar Mage in response. Gonna let it go. There's Prowess trigger. Terran's gonna get hit for 6. All the way down to 10. Game's now even with a followed up Eidolon. This is where Eidolon becomes a lot better. If he passes, his Bone Crusher Giant's gone. Connor, thank you. I might need you to say something out there in a second. Hold on. This Bone Crusher, just hold on. Okay. Bjork's Bone Crusher is gone.
Exile? Yeah,
because it was off of a light up stage and you didn't use it, so yeah. I think. Or wait. Is it on adventure? I just don't like where he has it. I'm gonna make him move it then. Never mind. It's on adventure, but I need him to move it.
Hi, TJ. What are you up to?
Are you dropping? Yeah, okay. I just told him for I don't know what he's showing me to, but I was just telling him for clarity for me. He just kind of like Bone Crusher and left in the same spot, so I asked him to kind of like move it somewhere. But yeah, he did use the stomp. That's my bad. There was a lot happening in that turn in terms of like trying to predict what the players are going to do. It's been very tense. A very weird balance of mono red against blue red, but mono red at the same time. Connor not looking happy. Looks like his games didn't go too great.
Well, I sat down tonight expecting to play mono green, and then I was handed one of the decks I hate the most in the format, which
Uh-huh.
is Bant Spirits.
Uh huh.
And it has a whack sideboard. It has really whack cards added in the main. So it was rough.
Yeah, it can definitely be weird.